We're looking for greater gliders here because we know that there's a high density of greater gliders, which are a protected species. We've found several greater gliders in this area that we're standing in right now, but they're logging in the area just over there. So we're out here having a look at this forest and trying to see if we can find more than 10 greater gliders or a high density of greater gliders that will trigger legal protection of this area. Unfortunately, the logging just over there has been going on for a couple of weeks already. Some areas of greater glider habitat have been impacted on, and there's been no attempt by the government or VicForests to actually look for these species that are protected by law, but they're just logging their habitat anyway without bothering to look.
As we're walking through the forest, we're looking up through the understory to try and find greater gliders in the overstory eucalypts. There's only gaps dotted every so often that allow us to get a view up into the canopy.
So this area of forest is scheduled for logging. We're inside a proposed VicForest logging coop. The reason why we have high density population of greater gliders in this forest is because of all these large old trees that have hollows in them and provide really good habitat. And it's these large old trees that are vanishing from the landscape because of VicForest logging operations. Eucalypt trees like this take over 120, sometimes up to 150 years for hollows to form, and once hollows form, they become suitable habitat for species that require hollows to sleep in, like the greater glider. So large old trees like this that are hundreds of years old that have got lots of hollows in them and great habitat, they're like living apartment blocks. From the mosses and ferns that are growing at their base and a whole host of small plants that are growing off them, right up to the possums and the gliders and the owls and other birds and cockatoos and parrots that are living in there. They're like an apartment block, just full of life at different stages from the ground right up to the top of the canopy.